The copy of HerosHour featured in today's review was provided courtesy of the publisher. Turn-based games with real-time combat are a favorite genre of mine since I was a kid. Lords of the Realm 2 was a particular standout for me, and a game I continue to play to this day. Learning about a new title called HerosHour ignited my curiosity for finding a similar, modern title to my old favorite. While not exactly what I thought upon first diving in, HerosHour has certainly grown on me and has provided hours of entertainment. There is no real story of which to speak of in HerosHour. Take your chosen faction and reign supreme over the land. Now, as I said, I dove into HerosHour believing it shared similar traits with Lords of the Realm 2. Well, it turns out that outside of it having a turn-based overworld, it doesn't really share much in common with my old favorite. Instead, it shares more in common with games like Heroes of Might and Magic, a franchise I am not as well versed in, to be honest. Going through the tutorial helped me get a grasp on the basics of what this new adventure had in store for me. My main takeaway after completing a few games was, I'm having a good time. Each game takes place on a procedurally generated map. The concept is a fun one, and ensures originality for each new match, as none will be the same as the last. Numerous map sizes are available, from quick 2-player setups to massive 7-player time sinks. While the layout of each map will be different, there is a basic template as a foundation for what you choose. You can customize numerous starting settings for you and your AI opponents, or human players if you want to play with a few friends on a single screen. 11 factions are available to play, and each has its own unique heroes, units, and skills. The sheer amount of stuff in this game is impressive. Over 200 unit types, spells, neutral armies, and pirates to protect valuable locations and resources. Then you have those said resources, equipment, and buildings. Knowing how to utilize, counter, and produce each is key to success. Again, that's where the tutorial really came in handy, to get down the basics before diving into your first real match. It is also good at helping you understand your turn structure for anyone who might be new to this style of game. But to break down a turn, you are able to build one new structure in your capital, provided you have the resources to do so. Resources are granted at the beginning of each turn depending on what buildings you have built or captured on the map. Each of your armies and heroes has a set number of movements, and you can command them to capture resource points, treasures, or to do battle until they run out. Throughout the play week, you can construct a set number of units per capital you own to increase your army size. At the beginning of each week, the number will reset and possibly grow depending on any additional research you may have done. And of course, you can also hire additional heroes or mercenary units to help fight for your cause. There are numerous strategies to use in the early game, like building up an army or building up your economy. Both have their pros and cons, and depending on your chosen difficulty level, the results of picking the wrong one can be quite devastating. Setting out on conquests is when things get more interesting. The game is nice enough to let you know how your army stacks up against your opposition, allowing for you to better pick your battles. While the forces guarding that gold mine might be near impossible to beat, the ones at the lumber mill are only a moderate challenge. Battles themselves are quite entertaining to watch. They play out automatically with little input from the player on troop movements. Placing them strategically at the start is one of the more important steps. In the early game, there isn't much else to do but sit back and watch. As you begin leveling up your hero and learning spells, they become a bit more interactive, as the use of spells can turn a near impossible fight into a win. Mana to use spells is determined by your current hero and isn't limitless. Each turn you will gain back a small amount to use in the next fight. Adding in a ballista or medical tent to your army provides further benefits. I like how the UI displays the number of units you have either lost or gained per encounter, allowing for on-the-fly verification for how your specific unit types are holding up. After each fight, your hero, if one was present in the army, will gain experience. At each level up, you can add valuable skills to increase their effectiveness in battle. Equipment found on the map, built, or bought likewise provides key stat boosts. It's pretty fun to see how overpowered they can become as the game progresses. Hiring multiple heroes ensures you have an army to both expand and defend your key strategic points, as the AI does like to come in force and steal your stuff if you are not careful. To win a game, you have to wipe each of your opponent's combat units and capitals off the map. Capital combat is particularly fun to watch, as your units attempt to bust down the walls between them and the enemy. Turning on the battle's 2x mode makes the experience even more satisfying. HerosHour utilizes a pixel art style for its world, and the results work. The maps can have various terrain to them, and each is unique in its appearance. Units are distinguishable and have enough detail to know what they are. The way they interact in battles is again very pleasing to watch. But most importantly is that everything runs smoothly both in and out of battle. The audio work of HerosHour works well for it. The music during battles is fun to listen to, and while on the overworld provides a good ambiance to get lost in. Unit attacks in battle and the cries of dying troops come through crystal clear, and the impact of a spell is always satisfying. HerosHour is an ever-changing and evolving experience thanks to the game getting constant updates post-launch. On top of this, there are numerous Steam Workshop mods in place to add even more to the experience. Combine this with the procedurally generated maps and you have a game with near limitless replay value. While I enjoy my time with HerosHour, there are some things about it that are a bit odd. First is the difficulty level feeling inconsistent throughout a match. You could encounter an army that you should have no trouble defeating and get thoroughly decimated. Other quirks like having to send out all your reinforcements after a battle for it to trigger the ending correctly can also be a minor annoyance. But with the sheer amount of updates that are going into the game, I expect most of these minor issues to be fixed up before too long. If you are a fan of the strategy genre in all of its varieties, HerosHour is a game you will likely find interesting. It's approachable enough for nearly everyone to give it a try, yet deep enough that mastering early game strategies will be the difference between an easy win or a drawn-out game and possible defeat. Add in the near limitless replay value of the game and it is an experience that can entertain you for hours on end. While there are still some oddities about it, the constant updating and bug fixes are sure to iron most of them out relatively quickly. While I got into HerosHour under an assumed comparison to a game I have loved for decades, it has stood on its own value and become something I plan to play for a long time to come. Thank you for making it to the end of today's review. HerosHour is a very interesting turn-based / real-time combat strategy game, and I've really been having a good time with it. I still have so much more to learn about this game, and there's just so much to talk about when it comes to it that I hope you get the basic overview from this video. But if you're interested in checking out HerosHour, there will be a link to the Steam page down in the description below. But thank you again for watching all of today's review. If you made it here to the end, you are amazing. But I do have a couple of huge favors to ask you. If you haven't done so already, please hit that thumbs up, thumbs down button, just depending on how much you like today's review. And if you'd be so kind as to hit that sub button and notification bell so you can see when new content goes live on the channel, I'd be greatly appreciative. Really helps keep the place growing so we can bring this content to all of you. For anyone that might be further interested in helping support the channel, you can also check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Little goes a long way to keeping this place going, and again, helps us bring this content right to you. But until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, you all stay awesome, keep on gaming, and we'll see you back next video.